Recording season 2 of Rock on the Rocks. Action. Cue the music. What's up, Rockstars? Welcome back to another episode of Rock on the Rocks. On today's episode, I am joined by world champion and NCA College Grand Champion, Matthew.
Hey guys.
Was that good?
Yeah, that was really good.
Woo! Thank God. Matthew, thanks so much for joining me on this episode today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
No, of course. We're going to talk so much about all of your cheerleading experience, which I can't wait to get into. Also about your personal business endeavors as well, with your athletic training that you have, and as well as the podcast that you just started.
Yes, we're out and about. We're doing things.
No, we are mogul things. Like this is good. This is what we're all about here.
Yes, thank you so much.
So that's so exciting. But first, we will be making our drink for the episode.
Yes, my favorite drink.
On our Scrump or Dump menu today, we will be making a tequila water with a splash of pineapple.
Okay, have you had this?
No, I actually haven't. I'm usually...
Okay, so you can actually scrump or dump it, because some people hate it.
Okay.
But the reality...
Would you be offended if I give it a dump?
No.
Okay.
No, the purpose of this drink is for a good long night out. With a good aftermath, you know?
With a good aftermath, yeah.
So
It's creating the vibes of the night.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it a little bit, gentle on the belly.
Okay, yeah.
Are we going to use this right here?
If we want to use the shaker, we can. Totally up to you.
I think shaken is best.
Okay, perfect.
So a little bit of ice. I always do the tequila first, so I know how much I put in.
And how many ounces of tequila do you usually do?
1.5.
Or do you just eyeball her?
Yeah, I eyeballed it.
We can measure with our heart for
I
this.
did bartend a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was 18.
And how was that?
Through 20. Difficult and challenging, but everyone loves a good challenge,
Some may say, some may say that they like a good challenge.
We pushed. I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was too young to even drink myself, so...
Yeah, that's valid.
That was more than a splash, but that's okay. We're making 2.
That's okay, yeah. We're doubling this, yeah.
You might like it. I also like a coconut rum and water with a splash of pineapple.
Wow.
It tastes like a vitamin water version.
The tropical drinks, it sounds like.
Yeah. It tastes like a vitamin water version of a pina colada.
Oh, all right. Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like a very light pina colada.
I want a light shake on this.
Yeah, light shake.
Oh, okay.
So really not that many ingredients.
No, simple. We like it simple here.
Cheers.
Cheers, Scrump or Dump.
All right, let's see. Great to me.
Honestly, this actually isn't that bad. I was really expecting to hate it because I hate sweet things.
But do you like tequila?
No, love tequila. That's my favorite drink. But the pineapple juice is very muted because of the water. It's very watered down. So I'm giving this a Scrump.
No, I'm afraid of this because I will just keep drinking and I don't need to get drunk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I totally get it. All right, perfect. So we'll move over there and then we'll dive into our conversation.
Okay, cool.
So now since we have our drinks, let's dive in. So Matt, tell me all about your athletic training company that you have right now.
So it's basically an athletic training company for tumblers, gymnasts, cheerleaders, acrobats, dancers, that type of thing. We basically do all training, whether that's team tumbling or group sessions, or I do even some stunt training. I do private lessons, and then I have staff that kind of do the same exact thing as I do, and they I take commission off of them, and I have an assistant as well.
Oh my God, you're fully loaded.
Manages all the scheduling and all the clientele and all the communication.
Oh, nice.
So, is that a good gist? Do you think that wraps it up for you?
Yeah, no, that sounds really good. Yeah. Okay, so what are the types of stuff that you offer for your tumblers and such? Do you also offer stunt clinics and such, or do you kind of keep it strictly to tumblers?
Yeah, mostly tumbling. I will do some choreography sometimes.
Okay.
I mean, I like to avoid choreography just because it's so time consuming.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But if people reach out and ask for it, we give it. We don't really like advertise it. We also will do like stunt clinics and stuff also if asked.
Oh, cool.
And then sometimes teams will call me in just for something that we call consulting, which is basically, hey, come in and take a look at this or look at our score sheet and see what we're doing good, see what we're doing bad. And then give us like some changes, some corrections, whatever you think is best for us. Just basically using my history, my knowledge to better that team for that year.
Wow. Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
No, that's definitely, I mean, it's nice that you're able to do that too, especially looking at like everyone's scorecards and then like change their routines from there and like help them out. I mean, like from my experience, I would never be able to do that now.
Yeah,
but
honestly,
like,
the score sheets are very complex.
I could only imagine.
Like pages and pages of rules and like, oh my God. It all depends on the age of the kid and like what group you're working with, what level they are, what the coach wants, what division they're in, and then what score sheet they're competing on, because everyone competes on different score sheets.
Yeah, that's also true. What ages do you usually teach for your lessons? Or are you taking like everyone?
Like, it depends. So the private lessons, I'm usually around 8 to 20 years old. So in the older range, because in my private lessons, I require them to have a certain amount of skill to work with me privately.
Yeah.
With groups, that can range from literally 3 years old up to 25.
Nice.
I've even done some choreography for like 35-year-olds.
Wow. Yeah. That's very cool.
In Canada, yeah.
Oh, no way. Yeah. Okay, so you get to like travel a lot with this.
Yes, I do travel pretty often. I found that it's more profitable to stay local.
Yeah.
Because when I travel, I need to give them a minimum. And then even when I do the minimum, I'm paying for like food and all that stuff. And like, honestly, cheerleading gyms are not necessarily thriving at the moment. There's maybe like 10 in the country that are super profitable. The rest are just like, you know, doing it for the love and the passion of the sport. Yeah. And that makes it really difficult for them to, you know, hire someone for 10 grand to come out and
it is a lot.
Them. So I like to stay local, keep some money in a better spot.
That's totally valid.
Yeah.
That is totally valid. And what is the name of your company?
MLPA.
Perfect.
Matthew Loucel's Precision Athletes.
Nice. Yeah. Very nice.
I like to like group them together, you know, make them feel like a team. If they're working with me, they're a part of like a community, you know?
Yeah, that's very nice. And how long have you had it?
It's been over 2 years now.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that's just hitting me now. I really didn't think.
I know, once you like do it,
no, it's been over 2 years. We've been training,
That's awesome. Yeah. And this obviously developed because of your passion for cheerleading throughout all these years.
Yeah, it just happened like the snap of my finger. Like, reality was I drove home with no money in my pocket and like all the way from Texas, 25-hour drive, and I had no goal, no intention, and I was just like, all right, I'm going to make a road trip out of it. That road trip took me a month, and then when I arrived home, a team heard that I was home and asked me if I would come like tumble them, and I had one client, and they recommended me to someone. They recommended me to
all
someone.
Word of mouth. Yeah,
and I was like, oh my God, I need someone to manage the scheduling and do this for me, and then it just grew from there. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, now we're booked for 5 years out.
What? No way. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. All Jersey local gyms, pretty much.
Yes, I am going to Texas in a little bit. I do go to Florida every so often. Yeah, I don't plan on going back to Canada, but like some. Yeah, some
but it's fun to travel regardless.
Yeah, especially if it's paid for. Yeah,
especially if it's paid for. Can't go wrong with that. That's awesome. Okay, so then with your athletic training company, you also just recently started a podcast called Son of a Bench Podcast. Yes, I love the name. Very clever. Yeah. And it's you and your mom.
Yes, it's me and my mom. And it's about like fitness and our journey together. We have opened a gym before. We've closed a gym before. We both had like very intense journeys within our own fitness kind of world. So we kind of talk about that and our relationship as mother and son, the challenges, the great things about being super close, all that stuff. It's good. We figured there was just a good place for us to kind of vent out all the things that we've learned over the years and the success we've had and the failures we've had. So
very nice. And where can everyone listen to it?
Well, it's gonna be out on all platforms, on Spotify, Apple, everything. in about a month. So
Nice.
we got a month.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting. But everyone can follow it now on Instagram, right?
Yes, everyone can follow Son of a Bench podcast on Instagram now.
Awesome. That's great. And like you said, you guys were just kind of inspired to do this, to just talk about your guys' relationship and everything.
Yeah, I feel like podcasts are the thing right now, and we were like kind of itching for something. We've been wanting to open up another gym. So that's in the works right now. But until then, we're just like patiently waiting with podcasts and social media and things like that until we launch the gym, and then we'll probably do more visual content and things within
once things
the gym.
Pick up. Yeah, no, exactly. For sure. And the gym is just like a regular like workout gym, correct? Like it's not like a cheerleading gym?
It will be a mix. So it's not going to necessarily be like, come here to be on this cheer team. It's going to be bring your cheer team here to come learn.
Yeah.
And then it's basically going to be split in half with a gym for, the parents who are dropping off their kid can go work out. Or, my mom has a regular following with fitness, so she will bring in her people, and it would be more like a CrossFit style, which is like a gymnastic style kind of thing.
Oh, so that's very cool.
Intertwining. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. And we're going to have a dance studio in it as well. Yoga/dance studio, where freelance instructors are going to come host adult classes and things like that. And then we want to have a podcast room in it as well, just in case anyone needs like microphones or anything. Yeah, we'll rent out that space.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that actually sounds so fun.
Yeah, it's going to be like an all-in-one experience.
That's crazy. Can you offer adult tumbling classes so I can come?
Yeah, we definitely want to do something like that too, like an open gym for like 18 plus.
Yeah.
Because like reality is like no one's gonna like come and listen to an instructor come and like and how many adults are really going to like train, So if you want to come and do a flip or whatever, sign the waiver, go off
and then have fun.
Yeah. So that's the plan. Yeah.
Wow, that actually, I love that idea. Like combining the two and like including all the other ones in just a space where you could do it all. Like that's fabulous.
Yeah, we both have like a niche, and we figured like one space, two businesses, same rent. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, literally save rent.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you're obviously looking probably around Jersey.
Yeah, we've been looking in like Marlboro, Freehold, that kind of area. Cool. I found a place I fell in love with, and then we signed our piece of the lease, everything went through, and then the township came and did their inspection, and it was like $75,000 of just variances and different things that like permits and lawyers, and so we had to like say goodbye, and my heart broke a little bit.
No, that's understandable.
On to the next, but I need to find my like passion for looking again, so I can really find something right.
Yeah, no, that's definitely going to take time, and like you said, you want to actually fall in love with the place and not just like have something and make like obviously you'll make the best of it regardless, but you really want to like know that this is going to be like your spot for like a decent amount of time.
Exactly like at least 5 years until we move and hopefully grow into a bigger space.
No, that's totally valid. I'm excited for you guys for when that all happens. It's really,
if anyone knows a spot,
comment below. Okay, so with all of this, let's move into your experience and your just overall time in the cheerleading world itself. Okay. I was a cheerleader once, way back when, in high school, and did All-Star a little bit. But
so you were a high school cheerleader at first, and then you did All-Star.
Yeah.
Was it like game day, or did you actually compete?
Both. Both. We would compete, or we would perform at the football games and basketball games, and then when it was basketball season, we would go to like one competition. Okay, like we were okay, but like our also like competitions, like we were always against like one other school. Like it was never like how the All-Star competitions are. Like you're going against like multiple teams.
You're going
and
to
like
someone else's school.
Exactly.
Other schools,
right. And like we weren't going to like a different state. Like we stayed in Jersey and just like went to like
makes sense
another school
on a budget.
Exactly. Very, very simple. Nothing too crazy. Like
Where'd
our
you cheer All-Star?
CC Champs in Waldwick.
I know CC Champs. Yeah, it's in North Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually very close to here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I cheered All-Star for a
They're
little bit.
still open?
No.
No. They
No.
merged or they closed?
They closed.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, they closed.
This is what I'm saying. Like cheerleading gyms, they struggle.
It's hard. Yeah.
You know?
It is hard. They closed a couple years ago. 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely remember the name. I feel like a lot of my friends went there originally.
To CC Champs.
Even one of my employees might have went there. Erica Lopez? No?
Maybe.
No?
I don't know. I knew, I don't know if you would know the people that I know. Do you know CJ Mendez?
Maybe. I feel like the name's familiar.
I can show you his photo. Molly Healy. I don't know if you would know her. She's my best friend. I love her.
Molly Healy. No. Was she a badass tumbler?
Like she was a baddie.
Then no, maybe not.
Casey Bronstein?
No. Casey Bronstein, no.
Yeah, her mom was the one who owned the gym.
Oh, okay. No. No.
Okay, well then that's fine.
I feel like if they closed like 3 years ago, it might have been like you were cheering probably before my time. Potentially.
Maybe. I don't really know.
Because
I did it in high school.
Okay. So maybe like we did like cross, but I was definitely in Miami at that point.
Probably. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I was at CC Champs for a little bit. It was super fun. I learned, all the skills I needed to. My highest level pass was a full. That I was able to do that, and then that was it. And then I cheered a little bit in college at Marist, but nothing compares to like what you have been able to do, which is just amazing.
Thanks.
So where did you start cheering for All-Star? What was your first team that you were on?
So actually there's a gym called Mama Gymnastics. They trained Lori Hernandez to the Olympics and a few other Olympians. So that's probably how you would best know them. They created a cheer gym, and I basically grew up tumbling in that gym, and I was on like I think a level 2 team and a level 3 team
at the time.
Back then, yeah, I was throwing fulls and stuff, but very ratchet. They weren't cute. I got good tumbling instruction from Lori's coaches, so they started to like pick me up into better technique for a while.
Yeah,
I think I lasted there like 3 years.
Cool.
Yeah, that was.
And then you moved from there to World Cup.
There to World Cup, yeah.
Wow.
So then I went to World Cup. Nope, sorry. Top Gun first.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. So I actually went to TGLC first down in Miami.
Way.
So I think I was 16 when I moved down to Miami. My family stayed here, and I lived in a house with like, I want to say it was 13 boys. So we shared like one house in Kendall, Miami, and we were all there for the same reason. And we all did online school and just cheered all the time.
Like every day.
Tumbled all the time. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you didn't do high school?
No, not really. I did freshman and sophomore year. And
then you moved to Miami.
Yeah. And
what was that like?
They were not cool with it. Like my teachers and
from your high school. Yeah.
They were like, he is not a good student. He is not, self-sufficient. He can't really do this on his own without people on his back.
That's terrible.
I know.
Why? Just because you wanted to go do what you wanted to do?
Well, it was kind of like a crazy thing. It was like, I want to leave and I want to go completely online. And basically they told me no, like that's not an option with us. So you can't do that. So I was forced to drop out, and my mom had to file this thing with the city.
That's crazy.
And then I enrolled in an online school in Pennsylvania, which thank God for that, because that was easy, very easy.
Yeah.
And I graduated a year early in Miami with a 4.0, which is crazy. And all of my GPA from my previous high school was voided because I fully dropped out and switched schools. The grades didn't carry over, just the credits did.
Oh, no.
So I was able to skate my way through high school.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I stayed in Miami for that year. I tried to stay with TGLC for another, I think, 3 months into the new season. And I was like, I'm really just not feeling this. I miss home. So I moved home, and that's when I went to World Cup. And
did you become a world champion with TGLC? No.
We got second place.
No way.
Not fair.
What was your first Worlds like? Were you finally this is what I've been obviously practicing and moved out here to do for all this time?
Yeah. I mean, my first Worlds was Gosh, I have such a bad memory, so it's
That's
really
okay.
hard to think about what that was like. I just remember getting second place with them was so heartbreaking,
Yeah.
but getting like fifth or third was so exciting
Because you just
with
made,
other
yeah.
teams. Like we were like, okay, like we just got here, like we're happy to be
Yeah.
here. And now this team was like, oh my God, we just lost. We're the best team in the world and we took an L. Like and that was painful. I remember that was so painful. And everyone else was like so emotional. And I remember wanting to feel more and like cry it out like everyone else, but I was just like numb. I was like, I just did that whole year just to lose.
Yeah. No, that's valid.
But honestly, it was never really about winning for me. That team made it feel like it was more so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I moved home and I went to World Cup, that wasn't really about winning. That was more so about doing the best that we can. Because at the time, World Cup Odyssey was not like a wow team. It used to be, but it wasn't. And we did well. We beat some world champions at NCA. We were like fighting our way through the season, and then COVID hit. So I basically
so you were on Odyssey all throughout till COVID.
Till COVID.
Wow.
Literally half a season with Odyssey.
Wow, that's crazy.
And we were like really, really bonded. So that's what I got out of that team was like some really tight friendships, some people that I can call for the rest of my life. Like that team was like definitely like full of heart.
Wow, that's nice.
But not as much talent, you know?
Yeah.
But it was good. They made me captain and I got to like get to be a leader for the first time and learn how to do things like that. And everyone on the team, we were just like so close. We would hang out during, after, and sleepovers all weekend. And like that time of my life was like really fun. And especially we tried to push into COVID as much as we could. So there was even like little bits of lockdowns and things like that where we had a lot of free time and no school or no anything just to hang out. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And at that point, you had already graduated high school. So you got your GED. No, or you got your
diploma.
Yeah. Nice. Very nice.
Real high school.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, and then
so once COVID was over, you then transferred to another gym.
When COVID ended, I was itching to go back to Miami.
Oh, really?
Sorry, COVID did not end. Oh. COVID was not over.
When it was
like, okay, we have to wear masks at practice and like still social distance and whatnot. And I was like, I'm going to go back to Top Gun. And because of COVID, there was like some loophole where if you were on the roster in the previous season, you could repeat, no matter your age, repeat the year on a team, on a senior level team.
Okay.
So basically, to explain it to the viewers, you get cut off at 19 years old. You can't move on. You can't stay on a team that's a senior team. You have to move on to a national team. So basically, I had the choice, since I was on the roster technically of the previous year for TGLC and Odyssey at the same time, I had the choice whether to choose TGLC or Double O, which was the international team.
Yes.
And my mom was like, you have to do TGLC. TGLC is the team. Like, everyone in the world loved TGLC. And I was like, I don't know. I kind of want to be with older kids. I want to do like... Double O has a different vibe to them. I want to see. And she was very much against it. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And I just moved back to Miami again.
Wow.
Like, I think it was a total of 7 months I was home. And then I was like back to Miami on Double O for a full year.
Back in the house with the 13 boys.
Yes.
Wow. That's crazy.
Same house.
What was that like? I mean, I guess you were like basically getting the college experience at that point. It's like a dorm.
Yeah, it was a house though. So like think about...
With a nice pool.
Messy boys. Trying to... No, it wasn't very nice.
Oh, okay.
No tea, no shade. It wasn't very nice. It's because that house was like generations of boys doing that. So it was like maybe owned for 20 years before I got there. Of just 13 boys after 13 boys. And the boys would just switch out every year.
Rotate.
So it was not the cleanest. And it was like no matter how much we deep cleaned, it still didn't really look clean.
Yeah, it's giving frat house.
Exactly what it was, a frat house.
Wow.
Exactly. So we did try. And I feel like when I was on Double O, we had more of a group of boys that wanted to keep clean. But for example, I can tell you a good example of a time where I bought pork roll, or Taylor ham, which is a very much Jersey thing.
Right.
and I put it in the fridge. My mom like shipped it or whatever. And I put it in the fridge, and next morning I wake up and it's not there. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I looked on the cameras. We had one camera, luckily pointed in the right direction. I asked my coach to show me the camera, and I see the kid eating the pork roll raw out of the package because he doesn't know how to eat it, because they don't know it.
Oh my God.
You know, like they don't know what it is. So he thought he was eating like a slice of ham or something.
Yeah, no, and he just ate raw meat.
Not the same thing. Yeah. So that's kind of like sums up my life.
Okay. So it was giving like major frat house.
Yeah.
That's
and seeing like,
I would die.
The Ohio murders now. Like, do you know about the Ohio murders?
No, but I guess I should.
The kids, there's like 6 kids in a house, and someone comes in and like murders that, or 3 of them or whatever.
Yeah.
And the way that the story is like back and forth, like one is coming out of the room and says she hears someone, one is coming out of the room and says she sees someone, you know, and someone says, does this girl have a boy over? Does this one? So that's kind of what it was like, in the way that there was always random people walking through the house.
Yeah.
Everyone's friends were over, strangers were over, people from other gyms flying in to see us or try out or whatever. So that made me like extremely nervous that it was always constant strangers. And now more than ever, looking back after seeing the Ohio murders and how like it all went down, it's so confusing to me how they all had like a different perspective of the story. And I'm like, I literally lived in a house where a murderer could just walk right in the door. It was always unlocked because we were coming in constantly. And someone could have just walked in and killed us all, like if they wanted to.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah. But like, I would have never batted an eye.
Was there like an adult in the house at all? No. Oh, no. Just like all you.
Yeah, we were all older. We were all like 16, 17, 19. Yeah.
But still, I mean, like at that age, you're quite young still to be like technically on your own.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, you must have clearly developed a lot of like independence from that.
Yeah.
And like being far from family as well.
Yeah, we had to grow up really fast.
Yeah.
Like, especially in Miami, Florida. Like, you're not.
Yeah.
And at that time, like, IDs weren't a huge deal either, going out and stuff, like going to clubs. So I think I saw a little more than I should have.
Yeah.
At the age of 16.
That's totally understandable. Okay. Wow. No, very interesting. I've always like known that was a thing, especially in all-star cheer, that like people would move from their hometowns to go to certain gyms in order to compete and be on them to perform and such. But like you truly are like the first person I've ever like had
spoken to about it.
Yeah, because like I've only ever known people from CC Champs, and we were all from Jersey. Like no one had like left their house to like you know
a lot of gyms don't do it. Like, for example, it's weird because you would say like World Cup Shooting Stars, a huge team. Maybe a handful of people have moved for it, or a handful of people have moved from like a little far away.
Yeah.
But there's no like system in place to make that run and function properly. But at Top Gun, they do it so well. And they have such a trend of people doing it. So all like 6 of their world's team, everyone comes from all around the world.
Yeah.
So if you don't make TGLC, you get dropped down to LJ. Then if you don't make LJ, you get dropped down to whatever. And then, but people will stay no matter where they come from or what they do. They're just happy to be at Top Gun.
Wow.
You know? So
then how long were you on 007 for?
It was actually, so that's funny that you say that, because 007 was the name back in 2018. I think it got switched over to then 005.
Oh.
In somewhere around there. And then after that, it became 00.
Oh, okay.
Because level 5 turned into level 6 after a while.
Got it.
It was just 00 I was on.
Okay.
And that was just a year. One full year.
Okay.
Then I was like, I'm done, Jerry. I'm done. But I wasn't.
Oh, so then after that, you were like, I'm going to call it quits.
I'm moving home. I'm done.
Yeah. And then what changed?
So I moved all the way home. I was on a road trip with my friend, actually the owner of World Cup. I was on a road trip with her to South Carolina. And I get a call from Corsicana, Texas. It's Monica asking me to come down to Navarro.
Wow, Monica called you herself? No way. That's crazy.
She reached out to me and
did you submit like tapes or anything? Like had leaving 00 and coming home, was cheering in college even a thought in your mind?
No.
No, you were just like, I'm done.
Yeah, no, I think I was definitely done. I was like, it's time for me to like really settle down. And at this point, I've been out of high school for like 2, 3 years. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, it's time for me to go to college and like get this done, you know? And I wasn't even too old. I was like 19. So it was like a good time to start college.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of threw me through like, oh, maybe I should do this kind of thing. And like these cheerleaders get pushed through college so easy, and they really focus on mostly cheer and don't really have to do much school. And I was like, that sounds like a good thing for me.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't submit like a tryout or anything. I didn't want to necessarily go. I went to a recruitment clinic 2 years prior.
Okay.
Randomly, like while
So
I was,
you had already gone to Navarro.
yeah,
And
I've
like
been there once.
Yeah. Okay.
Never spoke to Monica. Never spoke to really anybody, and I just
joined one of the clinics that were offered. I did one in Delaware.
Oh, for like another school?
Like for University of Delaware.
Yeah.
Like
so
when I thought I was going to cheer in college, I'm like, I thought I was that good, but I like really wasn't.
Is University of Delaware good?
I think they're okay. I think they're a part of UCA, so they're not NCA. Okay. For those of you who don't know, there's two different I guess divisions for all-star and like national cheer. Basically there's UCA and NCA, so typically teams are either a part of one or the other organizations, and they like are similar but different. They like all basically do the same stuff. Moral of the story, I actually was an NCA staff member, fun fact.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I actually only did like one camp and then I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a really hard job.
But I have all the uniforms.
Oh, period. They let you keep them.
They never asked for them back. Okay, so period. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that.
I'm a uniform hoarder. Like,
are you really?
Yeah, they asked for them, and I'm like, okay, I'll bring it. And then you never
back.
do. Yeah, I try to keep it as much as I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've only given back like one, I think.
Okay, so then you went to a clinic at Navarro, and there you like practicing. From what I remember from being at Delaware, like you do your stunts, you do a couple tumbling passes, whatever, and then like a jump series.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember it being like extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Like I think I was at NCA with Odyssey, competing in Texas, and I was like, you know what? Let me like pop out. A few of my friends are going to Navarro to do this like clinic, and maybe it'll be fun to just like tumble and whatever. And I went, and it was like, they had choreography ready for us to do, and I was terrible at choreography at the time, and like it was just so intense. They were like, show us your best pass, and like number 1 and number 2 out there on the floor, and it was like, oh my God, this feels like a tryout. Intense, yeah. This is not light. No. Yeah, so it was like a super intense experience, and I remember walking out of there like, I have to go and like compete in NCA now. Like I shouldn't have done that, but I did it, and then thank God I did, because changed the course of my life. Yeah,
that's very true. But was that also your first time stunting / tumbling on the dead mat? Yeah. I hated that. We had like one competition where we performed on the dead mat, and I like wanted to KMS. It was so different than like everyone's expecting like the springboard typically.
You went from spring floor to dead mat for a competition without experience on dead mat?
No, like in high school, the one competition we would do was dead mat.
Oh, okay.
So that's all anyone ever really knew. But I was already practicing like on the side, like so I was like used to that, and I didn't really know because I wasn't like that well versed in like the cheer world just yet. So when I got to it in high school and I saw that it was on the dead mat, I was like so thrown off because I was like, what the hell is this? And then obviously came to learn like the difference between the two. That one either is just like flat out, just like on the wood floor, on top of the wood floor.
You can put it on cement, you can put it on wood. It's just there.
Yeah, and then the other one has the springboards underneath, which is obviously more fun and what all stars use. But okay, so that was your first time on the dead mat. So like, was throwing passes super hard for you?
I thought I really was not great. I think I just was not. I wasn't feeling good. Mentally, I felt a lot of pressure, which normally I'm very good under pressure, but for something that I want to do, if it's something I want really bad, then like it wasn't something that I wanted really bad. So I felt like this overwhelming pressure of like, you need to do well right now and you don't even want to. So, I think I probably did like decent with like jumps and stuff and like whatever, but it wasn't good enough for her to call me right after,
Right. It took however long you mentioned.
2 years.
2 years. Yeah. That's crazy.
2 years, and
then you get the call from Monica, and she's like, "Come back."
Yeah, and I was I was just like, oh, this is a lot to think about. Like, can I have a few days? And she was like, yeah. So I took a few days. And at this time, I was coming back from Miami, did this road trip or whatever. And I was like sick. I have lupus. So it was like a really bad time. I was having a lot of flare ups. I was really skinny. I was really focused on getting my life back together. That was like my intention of moving home was like, I'm going to gym crazy. I'm going to eat crazy. I'm going to make myself focused and driven. And when she called me and threw me through a loop, I'm like, what if this ruins everything that I'm doing for myself? So basically I like wrote down all the things that would need to happen for me to go there and still be successful. And it was like a meal plan, a room to myself, which is something that they didn't do.
Right. Because from what you see on the show, everyone is in dorms.
Yeah. And then I needed a scholarship and like a light school schedule. And when I called her back, she was like, yes, I'll do it for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, look at you. That's awesome.
And I was like, I was like, really?
Yeah.
She was like, yeah. And she was like, saying that she didn't have the boys that like had the technique she wanted and she needed like a little more technique. And I was like, okay, well, you got me. So I'm here.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So then I went.
Wow, that's crazy. And what year was that at that point?
2021. Oh. 22, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Like on the cusp.
On the cusp, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
That's crazy. Yeah. So then you come home from Jersey with this plan, you leave, you go to Navarro, and like what was...
I think I had 3 months at home.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, gotta go back.
Gotta go back, yeah.
So I moved down to Texas, drive in my car, 25 hours.
You drove alone, 25 hours?
Stopped a few times, I think, in the middle.
Wow, I give you a lot of credit.
Yeah. I was like, I needed my car down there. There's so many people moving without cars. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm going to Texas. I'm not going to New York City, you know? So I was like, I definitely need a car. And thank God I had one because I would have like had nothing to do all the time.
Yeah, that's also very true. Because you're so restricted. I mean, so Texas is huge. Yeah.
We were in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
Literally the middle of nowhere.
That's insane.
Yeah. So when I got there, it was... like a pretty quick experience. Like we kind of just I always felt like I was missing some piece of information, that everyone else knew something that I didn't. And that's genuinely how I felt for the full first month I was there.
Really?
Everyone was just kind of moving. Everyone knew what practice was and everyone knew what gear to wear and what to go. And like, everyone kind of knew the traditions and how things went and how you're supposed to act and where you're supposed to look. And, you know, I always felt like I was missing something. So it took a while for me to like feel like I belong there. But I instantly made 2 like really close girlfriends and they like helped me get through the whole thing.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's very nice.
Katie and Kennedy, shout out.
Oh, shout out to you too. Wow, that's so exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's nice that they were there to help you out because I know, like you're saying, it is very hard to come to something so huge. And at that time, when you got called from Monica, did you know like the caliber of like how big Navarro was in terms of the cheer world?
Yes, I didn't see the show yet. I saw like bits and pieces of it.
Did it had already aired at that time?
Yeah, it did air. So the first season did air, just aired. So it was like the really prominent time for Navarro.
Got it.
Like I think COVID hit, right? Then it got released like towards the end of the lockdown. And then I went. So it was prime time for, you know, it was sitting #1 at Netflix for months.
Yeah.
And everyone online, like, you know, Ellen and Kendall Jenner and everyone was tweeting about it. So it became so massive so quickly. And I felt like I was literally thrown into the ring of fire. Like I never experienced, like we did a little bit of PR at Top Gun and there was a little bit of fame that came with it, but it wasn't at all.
Yeah, like you get the Instagram followers and stuff from, you know, everyone being like cheer fangirls at like stuff like that. So, but then this clearly.
It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
It was like, you can't even like walk around without someone recognizing, you know, where you come from or what you're doing. And like people coming from all around the world just to like peek into our practices and try to get pictures after and ask for like, you know, autographs or whatever. It was just kind of like shocking that that people cared so much. And the most shocking part was normal people. And more commonly than not, it was a lot of men, a lot of dads, a lot of straight men that I was like, wow, you really watched it? Or like he'll say like that, my wife loved that show, I loved it with her, like whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really honestly like almost, what's the word I'm looking for? Like amazing and like beautiful in a way that cheerleading got put in a spotlight where it's not like
That it
cheerleaders
really
are looking at
deserved.
cheerleaders.
Yeah.
You know, like it was normal people looking at cheerleaders
Yeah.
like, wow, this is a sport and I could be
Right.
impressed by this and I
Yes.
can watch this. And, you know, just like basketball and soccer, even if you don't play it, you could watch it.
Yeah.
And that became a thing because of Navarro.
Correct.
So it was really a moment of like, okay, now we are going to capitalize on this, and our PR team is going to push for more interviews and more press stuff and more deals, brand deals, and Bang Energy coming in, and you know, we have all these random podcasters and stuff that we have to do, and it was we didn't get any like proper training for
media
it
training.
Or we kind of just got thrown into the ring of fire and we were just like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, doing the best you can.
While also trying to be a full-time cheerleader, cheering literally every day all the time.
Yeah, what was your practice schedule like?
It varied a lot. Like it was,
I know they mention it on the show, like Monica like does like, you know,
briefly,
but like what truly was the schedule?
Yeah, so we did not have to follow NCAA guidelines because we were a junior college, not a community college, not a university. We were a junior college, so we fell under different criteria. There was no rules on how much we could practice, so we really pushed that, you know. We got, I think, like 3 hours of class in the morning.
Okay.
If you went to class, not all of us did. And we usually all had like the same classes so we could help each other out. And then we went to cheer practice from 12 to, oh gosh, so long ago, 12 to 3 or 4, something like that. Then we would get a break. We would be able to eat dinner. Then we would meet again at 7 until indefinitely, like until we did our job, right?
Yeah, until like the coaches were happy.
Yeah. And that was the hardest part, like walking out of practice at like say 10 or 11 at night and
having to wake up so early the
having
next
to
day.
wake up and just like do it all again. And it was like your body's torn down and you're like, especially the first month, our bodies are just beaten up.
Yeah.
And you just like, they just say it's part of the process and this is the Navarro lifestyle and you just have to hang with the punches, you know. And it's just not
right, because now you're like on the team of like the best of the best, so it's like get ready type of vibe.
Yeah, now little fish in big ponds, you know.
Was that like really eye-opening to you and like shocking? Like was clearly this was like the first time you've had like practice of this caliber, right?
Yes. Yes. I feel like on TGLC and all my other teams, it was like 2-3 times a week, 2 to 3 hours, you know, it was calm. This was like, oh, we're not full-time students. We're full-time cheerleaders. We are here for cheering and we are here to be the best. And we are here to make, you know, every single camera know that we're the best.
That's
you know?
crazy.
And that was the really intense experience of it all. Like I felt like there wasn't only the pressure of doing good for yourself. There was the pressure of doing good for the cameras and everyone watching. There was the pressure of doing good for your coaches and your teammates because we held each other accountable so much. Yeah. And then there was the pressure of literally, you know, being in so much pain and trying to convince yourself that you're okay. You know, when truly you're not. Yeah. Like you probably shouldn't be doing anything, you know. People always say like take a sick day or whatever. That just wasn't an option because you have your 60 other people on the team and only 20 people make mat.
Yeah. So. I know that's the craziest part for those of you who've never watched. There's a lot of people who join the team and try out and Monica takes a certain amount from what I remember from the show. And then from there, there's a point in time where she only takes another certain amount because that's who's going to compete at NCA, right? Yeah. So the first semester of the year, we spend training, learning, like basically if you have a girl that you're co-eding, you throw her up, you put her down, you pass her to the right and you get the next girl. Like, and you go and you don't stop. And it's all day, every day until you can stunt with every girl. You could tumble every pass and you could show her that you can give her everything she needs to make sure she fills her score sheet in the best way. That is crazy. And then once that's all done, it's
we have something called mat tryouts, which is basically a re-tryout. You try out with your team. We're all screaming for each other, like, go, Rocco, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but reality is you're thinking in your head, like...
Fail. Not fail, but like,
No.
You want to be the one who gets it.
Truthfully, mat tryouts didn't mean anything because she's watching us all year, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But she did want to see how we did under pressure in that moment. And I remember my mat tryout being like my best tumbling I've ever done. And it felt really good to walk out of there like, okay, I know I did the best that I could, and whatever happens, happens.
What was your go-to pass?
So what I threw at mat tryouts was a 2-2 full whip full, I think.
Oh my God.
And then
that's crazy. I'm like, one to fall is like the wildest thing I've ever done. But oh my God, that's nuts.
Yeah, we had to. That's what they wanted. They made it very clear, like what they wanted to compete. So it was like you're gonna throw, what you could throw, kind of your own style or your own thing, but like they were very
looking
clear
for
on.
something.
And then we had to throw 3 jumps to full. So you wouldn't even make mat if you didn't have a standing full or a consistent standing full. That was not even an option. So you had to have 3 jumps to full. I think I did pike, hurdler, toe full. And then my running, and this is all done at once. So you're doing the toe touch full, you're doing the standing tumbling, and then you're going to the corner, and you have like 2 minutes total. You go to the corner, and I think I did like a split Arabian through to full, something like that. Yeah, and then
that's insane.
I remember like sticking it and standing up and be like, "Thank God that's over! Like I'm done." And then I could just cheer everyone else on. Yeah, and then she was like, "Are you stunt trying out?" Basically, asked me if I would like wanted to lift a girl. I was like, "No."
Really?
I just said no because I knew I just wasn't. Like, there's no way they were putting me on mat to be a stunter. Like, I just knew it. I was like, I don't want to waste your time, my time. I don't know if that was like disrespectful or if it was.
Were you
like,
main or second?
So in college, it's just one base.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that's valid.
Yeah.
And there's a spotter, right?
And then there's a spotter. So if you were to do like a double down.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So you just watch.
Yeah. The best job. Yeah.
I tumbled.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I tumbled.
You knew your job and you did it well.
I did my job. Yeah. And I remember when that was over, I got to watch everyone else, and everyone else was like also just killing it. Like everyone was on their game that day. And we got home and we were like, please, like, just come out soon with the results so we know. I think it was 2 weeks of us still going to practice and still being whatever, us having to like get along and like
while secretly being like
also secretly making lists in our dorm room of who we think is going to make mat, and the people who know that they're not going to make
remember that from the show.
Yeah, like people who know they're not going to make it are also like writing down like who they think are going to make it, you know, and everyone has their own assumptions and what they think. And I remember really not knowing, like really feeling like I didn't know. And I just kept reminding myself, like, she brought you down here for a reason. She's going to whatever, you know? So it took 2 weeks, and then they released a list. It was a list on notes of our numbers, not our names. So we had to, like, cross-check everyone and text each other and see who's what number and whatever. And when someone texted in the group chat, hey, there's 3 extra people on this list, because there could only be 20 on mat, and there was 23 people on the list. And we were like, what?
That's crazy.
So we get to practice, and there's 6 stunt groups. There's only allowed to be 5. Right. And she's like, one of these stunt groups is being cut. And I remember thinking, like, one of the stunt groups clearly was a little weaker than the rest. And we kind of felt like, why are you doing this? Like, you know it's going to be them that you're cutting.
Yeah.
And then no side spot wanted to be working with that stunt group because they didn't want to be the one that got cut with that stunt group.
Yeah.
And it ended up being that stunt group with that side spot getting cut. And I think it was like a total of like 4 weeks until we really knew concrete that we were going to be on the mat.
That's crazy.
And a lot of people were like, I'm going to move home after this, or I'm not going to waste my career here if I'm not going to be on mat. Or everyone was like, felt so up in the air and so crazy about it. And I remember thinking like, you know, my mom won't even let me stay here if I'm not on mat, you know?
Yeah, at that point.
So we wanted to know, like, give us answers. Why is it taking you so long to figure it out? And yeah, they gave us answers. It just took a while.
That's crazy. Okay, so then you finally make mat, and then was tryouts or was practice for, you know, getting to the band shell like even more intense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When we started,
Because that's technically all of your second semester at that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so instantly, I think after Matt was chosen, we got our choreographer in and we started choreographing the routine. Actually, I think we got choreography before we even got Matt chosen.
Oh, wow. So everyone already kind of knew.
People were like switching in and out, and 2 stunt groups were switching in and out. So people did kind of know. And I remember just feeling so awful for all the people who were not on Matt because they had to sit for 6-8 hour periods just on the sideline doing homework. And, they'll get on you if you're on the side and you're doing homework all the time and you're not learning someone's spot or invested or trying to stunt on the side. But then you get yelled at for stunting at the wrong time or yelled at for tumbling at the wrong time or whatever. It was like an impossible job of being an alternate and someone like, you're expected to learn someone else's spot.
Yeah.
But that person that you learn might not be the person you switch in and out for. They might not even choose you. They might never even give you a chance.
Yeah.
So you could just be wasting your time. You should get your homework done,
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot
insane.
of people were just like, chose one side and like, I'm going to give it my all and work on the side for this. And there was guys that were like, I want Matt's spot, so I'm going to work to learn Matt's spot and try to make sure he, fails and I succeed. And, it was kind of like that, but we still had to keep like good morale and hype each
You're
other
still
up.
a team at that point.
Yeah. So we would go full out, over and over and over again. And every time we did a full out, they would send us in a back room and you would only be allowed to step in the back room if you are a person on mat. And everyone else, while we got to talk and chat about what we're going to do out on the mat, they got to practice for 5 minutes. Then we came out, we did our full out, we breathed, we went to the back room again, and they got another 5 minutes to do like what they wanted before we came out.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just so much. And like to be able to put yourself through that, I mean, it's wild.
Yeah.
You clearly, the love for the sport really is there because you are there to compete and everything. And it is such an honor. Do you feel though, like once you make it to Daytona, like is everyone truly like that team morale? Yeah. Because obviously, like you're saying, it's like you're battling each other out. Like as much as you're a team, you're like ready to like take someone out.
No, I mean,
so you could keep your spot.
There's some drama. Like as the season continued, us on the mat felt like there was people who shouldn't be. And people who deserved to be, who weren't. So there was like specifically one person that we all felt as a team shouldn't be there and was bad energy, bad vibes, would fight with Monica, it was like we wanted him off the mat and we wanted someone else who was deserving to be on it. And Monica was like, no, this is my decision. Like, this is what I'm going to stick with it. So we went to NCA kind of with that in our head, like, he shouldn't be here, but we're going to push anyway.
Right.
But I think that he caused us like one little deduction or something very tiny. And we all felt kind of right about it, but we ended up winning and getting the highest score in cheerleading history. And
which is amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Still to this day. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been beat and we're like still very proud of what we did. But at the same time, it was like, we felt like that whole year was like a soul-sucking experience in addition to learning and growing a lot as a human and pushing yourself to your very like furthest limit.
That's nuts. What was it like though with that all combined and then having cameras on you while practicing 24/7? Like was that also even more intimidating?
Yeah, I feel like
because you're trying to check yourself to not lash out. I'm assuming because there's cameras, this is going to be aired. Everything. You don't know what the edits truly are.
Well, the show stopped filming as soon as we were there. I don't know how long, but the show ended up stopped filming because of the FBI and lawsuits and all of this stuff. So we were basically doing every single media press tour under the sun. So it was like Ellen this week, and we even did Joe Rogan, and we even did like anything. Like it was insane. And like people would just send us packages of like fur coats or whatever, and then we have to post a picture, whatever. But there was
like
cameras on us all the time. Yes, we were more influencers. Yes, and there was cameras, just not a Netflix crew. after a certain amount of time. Yeah,
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so going to like Daytona and stuff, there was like a type of film crew, just not Netflix.
Okay. So what was it like though once you finally got to the band shell? Were you like, this is it? And like, did you know? Like, I hear the energy is wild. Like, is it truly like what everyone says and like what they describe on the show? Obviously.
Yeah, I think I never like. A TGLC was such a big team in cheerleading and all-star cheerleading that we would get stopped every 5 steps for a picture. So you were kind
of already used to it.
So there was like a sense of like understanding. I did not understand how big Navarro was until I got to NCA, because it was so many people coming up to us and crying and like saying, I drove 10 hours just to see you, or I flew out here from France to come watch, and like so many people, normal people who weren't cheerleaders, and we got escorted everywhere like privately, and everything was like very you have to stay in your room at this time, you have to move at this time, we're moving as a unit at this time. And it was I didn't realize what it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be us and like some other famous cheer teams, you know, getting asked for pictures every so often, getting stopped so often, and you know, there's other famous cheerleaders in the world. Yeah, and when we were practicing the day before we even competed, we practiced on like a patch of grass, and we made sure to do it like, I think it was like half a mile away from where we actually competed, so no one could. People started to find us, and it became like this massive crowd, like fire marshals and people trying to like make room, and police holding people back. And there was like people up on the balconies, like all outside. There was people covering the beach, like all these phones and cameras, and even like news channels and various stuff. And it was like, we're just trying to practice. And they kept like, a lot of the team did experience the whole Netflix and like whatever, so they're used to it. But for me, I was not used to it, and everyone was like honed in and focused. And I was like, you have to just focus and do your stunts. And it was
you have to really just try to not care about who's around you.
You have to try to not care. But it was a very intense experience for sure.
That's wild.
So I was like, if this is today, I don't know what it's going to look like when I actually step out on that band show tomorrow. And when I did, it was absolutely bizarre. It was like the whole beach was covered, all the balconies. I could not see an inch of land all the way from there to the end of the whatever strip on Daytona Beach. It was just full of bodies. It looked like Lollapalooza. It was like absolutely insane. Yeah, and I was like, people can't even see us from that far. How are they going to stand out there? Like, and there was people on shoulders, people standing on vending machines, people like, it was just.
I know, at that point, how do you even hear your music?
Yeah, you don't. We were very much a counting team. We counted ourselves through the routine. We can't hear anything.
Okay, that's what I figured, because I was going to, like, obviously you watch the show and like you can hear the music coming from the show. But, I mean, knowing how big it is and how you're saying it, like, I'm just thinking like, there's no way you can hear that.
Yeah, no. I remember being backstage first and peeking around and being like, oh my God, like, I'm not Beyonce. Like, I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
And like, that made me more nervous because the day before I watched Navarro's routine that had like 10 million views on YouTube or something. So that was like, oh my God, now it's even more popular than it was before. So many people are going to watch this. If I mess up. People will hate me online. Like, people will say, I ruined this team, or I ruined our win, or whatever. And there was a girl the year before who did ruin the win. And who knows if it was her fault or the base's fault, you know. But she'll never live it down. Still to this day, she's getting tweets about it.
And, that's terrible.
And I'm like, I don't want to be that person. So that pressure was on me, but I just kept reminding myself, like, you know, you've been doing this for so long. You've been like, you got chosen to be here for a reason. But I always felt like an imposter. I always felt like I don't deserve to be here. Like, how did I get here? Like, I faked my way to the top, and like, you physically can't, obviously. But yeah, that's what I felt like I was dealing with.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But going out there, you just lose all of that. You kind of just have
in that moment. Yeah, it's just like, we're here, it's happening. And then like once you finish performing, like, and you knew you hit 0, right? You guys hit 0 that time. You knew you hit 0. Were you just like overwhelmed with emotion in that moment?
Yeah.
Or were you just like, oh, thank God. Like,
that's my favorite part of the whole thing was like watching that video again. And I watch it every so often, maybe every 6 months or so. And I watch the end of like me and my big, like grasping onto each other for dear life, because it was like all over, like the whole experience, all the like shit we went through and all the stuff that we, you know, pushed and kept going, all the times we thought that we were going to just stop and get up. And it was like, it's over. We did it. And the crowd was so loud when we finished. It was, I'll never forget it. Like chills down my spine. Yeah. It was, and the sun was blazing in my face the whole time. I was like, oh my God, are we going to get through this? And when we got to the end, it was like, we did that. We ate that. Yeah.
No, it's awesome. Like, it's truly amazing. And then finally, you get announced that you guys won, and that's the next day, right? Or is it the same day?
Same day.
Okay, same day. You guys find out you win. I could only imagine even more emotion overcomes the team. But what did you feel like running into the water? Like, is that when it's like, oh my gosh, like this is it?
Honestly, the water experience wasn't the crazy part for me. It was, we won. And I feel like we had a bigger audience for our awards than we had for our performance, which was crazy. And we got,
because everyone wants to,
we got escorted through like hotel hallways or something. And I was like, is this the time that we're going to like I see it on TV, I see it on like, whatever. I've never like, I don't know what's going on. And we just kind of got held in like a dark hallway and just sat there for so long, not really knowing what, but we're all so happy. We just won. So it's like, fine. Like we're all hanging out. And they like opened the door to like, what became the outside. And there was like a line of people from the hotel all the way down to the beach, and the whole beach like covered on both sides, and just like one, you know how people like make a bridge kind of thing, but it was like unveiled to like people just screaming.
That's awesome.
And we just started like running, and like I remember like people being so excited and happy for us, people faces I did not recognize, and you know, it was just insane. And somehow, some way, everyone kind of like was respectful in the way that no one touched the water besides us.
That's really nice.
Everyone stayed on the beach. And we were swimming in the water and took all these pictures.
That's awesome.
It was very overwhelming. It's like, grab the phone, and like, who's taking a picture? And mom, grab this. And, you know, like, where is my mom? You know, all that. So it was crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was wild. I was like, I hope my hair looks good and all, but
I know at that point you're like drenched in sweat.
Just like these are pictures are important pictures for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
you know?
true. So true.
Stressful.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That like truly an experience that like not a lot of people have. So it's amazing. It's awesome that you were able to have that.
Yeah, it was my Beyonce moment. Yeah. It was definitely a peak in my life for sure.
And then once that happened, you were like, now I'm officially done.
But I wasn't. Actually, I was not done. I really was convinced I was done. I get a text from my friend after maybe like 3 days after Daytona. Hey, our coaches say we need someone for cheer athletics Wildcats. And I was like, oh, like maybe it's just all-star, like whatever. They said your routine will be easy. They said blah, blah, blah. They just need a boy to fill in, right? And I was like, okay, like just a flight to Orlando, compete at the World Championship one more time, maybe could get another ring, and it's only 2 weeks away.
Because you had got a ring with Double O.
I did get a ring with Double O. Yeah, I won with Double O. And I was like, maybe I could just do it again and it would be fun and whatever. And I was like, well, I'm staying here because I have to finish college anyway. The cheer season is over with Navarro, but I have to still do school. So I was like, let me just do Wildcats, and this is exactly what I would want to happen if I were to compete at Worlds again. So I think it was like a few days later, I show up to practice. There's about a week till Worlds. And
so you have like a week to learn.
I have a week. So it's 3 practices total. 2 practices in Dallas and then 1 practice at Worlds.
Oh my God.
And I get to practice and they're just like, just wait right here. And I'm meeting like Brad and Angela for the first time, the owners of Cheer Athletics. And they're just like, chill right here for a minute. We'll find you a spot on the whatever. They were like, you out, Matt in. And I was like, what? And they literally ripped a boy out of his spot a week before Worlds and put me in. And I'm like, you don't know me. You don't like, you just really just threw everything through a loop and made me feel like I'm taking this kid's spot and like this kid's upset and whatever. So
he's worked literally this whole season.
to get ripped out right before
Yeah,
Worlds.
and you just showed up.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So half the team hated me. Like, literally.
Yeah, but what were you supposed to do at that
I had no
point?
idea.
Yeah.
I was like, I had a talk with them. I was like, I don't know if this is right. They're like, don't worry, we're putting him on another team. He's still gonna compete, blah, blah, blah. I was like, whatever. So my routine was extremely difficult. I think I doubled like 5 times in that routine. I flew in that routine. I was like nearly center dancer up in front for the whole routine.
Oh my God.
And it was just like super stressful, like a lot of pressure, more passes than I've ever competed before. And I've been used to dead mat all season. Now I'm doubling on spring floor.
Yeah, now you have to get used to that again.
And it was a lot of very difficult passes. Then we went to Worlds, and in the practice at Worlds, right before we went on to compete, I think it was like 2 hours before, they were like, Matt, we really want to switch around your dance. And I was like, because I was like in the middle behind people, and they were like, they wanted to pull me up. And I was like, that's new motions. I don't know those motions, whatever. And they were just teaching me, and I was having like a little breakdown. And I would too. This is like right before. Yeah, right before I'm about to compete at Worlds. And I'm like, this team hates me already. Yeah. Like, they're going to like crazy. And I did. I went to the bathroom. I had a full-on breakdown. I cried. And
yeah, respectfully so.
I'm not like that at all. I usually just keep it together. And like, I could be the athlete you need me to be. If you need me to be there, I'll show up. But
which you did in this moment, but still, like, that's wild.
Right. And literally, that's wild. Wildcats. So basically, I cried in the bathroom. The owner, Brad, came to the bathroom and talked me through it. And was like, you got this, and I believe in you. And I was like, you don't know me. Yeah. Like, I'm a stranger to you. Like, you don't know what I'm going to do out there. And we went out, we slayed, and we lost.
Wow.
We got second place.
Wow.
To Top Gun Revelation, who was like the it team at the time. So wow. Props to them, but I didn't miss a move.
And more congrats to you, because that's crazy.
Yeah,
wow.
Thanks. Yeah, and then I was like, maybe I will stay on Wildcats for one more year, and I like competed with them for like 3 competitions the next season. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah, you're out. Old. I finished. That was it. And then you came home. That was it. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
My cheer career all wrapped up.
No, literally. And that's like quite a career, I must say. So you really gave it your all. Thanks. And you were able to achieve, again, like I've said, what most haven't, and like dream to achieve. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was definitely quite the experience.
Yeah.
We lived, we learned.
I know. I like it. Fun fact, we might do a part 2 episode where Matt and I do go to the gym, and he's going to
teach you how to tumble.
reteach me how to do all my stuff, because I'm extremely retired. And I don't know that much, but we'll see what I can do. I need to see the rings.
Oh, I don't have them, but I can bring them next time.
Yeah. Like, just so I can see them in person.
They're pretty obnoxious, like, not gonna lie.
No, for sure, but I just like need to see. Yeah. I've never been to Worlds. So
really?
Yeah, I just went to Summit once to fill in. Like for a team on CC Champs, but I never went to Worlds.
The Worlds experience is like very similar to Summit, I'm pretty sure. But
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, the only difference is like you have a lot of like cheer influencers, cheer celebrities and stuff walking around, and a lot of great teams that you want to see. Yeah,
and everyone's just like obsessed. And then Disney's like a whole other part of it and stuff, and everyone has fun.
But Worlds was never like the time where I like felt the most pressure, because it, like, we had bigger arenas and bigger stuff at NCA and cheer sport and all that. Like, bigger crowds, you know. Worlds was very there was a lot of security and a lot of regulations and how many people can be in this room, and it was all outside with multiple arenas, so everyone was so spread out. You know, at Summit, like, probably similar.
Yeah. No, for sure. But yeah, no, I've only ever been to that, so like it's just like a dream, you know, former cheerleader, to like experience all of that. But I'm so beyond.
You go as a spectator.
I can go as a spectator, yes, but I'm just beyond honored to like have this conversation with you, because it's, you know, so cool.
Oh, thanks.
Like, especially growing up and doing cheer. So
yeah, I appreciate that.
It's awesome. But Matt, I think this is our episode.
Yeah, I think we ate that.
Yeah, really. No, thank you so much for coming.
Cheers one more time.
Yes.
My last sip. You
Cheers.
Don't have to chug. But clearly I enjoyed my drink.
No, as you should. As you should. But no, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Yeah. This was amazing. And like I said, an honor, because I can only dream of the things you've done. So
thanks.
I'm looking forward to part 2. I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to do my best to see what I can, to see what I can do, to what I could pull out again.
Yeah.
Super excited for that.
Yeah.
So thank
I'm
you.
retired
Matt.
too. Keep that in mind. Like I'm
yes, but you coach people, so it's different. Like you like at least like still know what to do. Where like I do a backflip like at a wedding when I'm drunk.
Yeah.
So
that's
like,
a risk.
It's a back
risky
handspring.
Move.
It's a back handspring, so it's not that risky. I have some insurance, you know. I can't like pull a tuck.
No, it's so risky. I feel like every time I'm like, should I? And then I'm like, no. If you fall on your butt, you're gonna embarrass yourself.
I keep it sane to a handspring, and
maybe I
end
should
it there.
too.
Yeah. You definitely could do more. Me, not so much.
Not with the drink in me.
That's valid. That's very valid. Yeah, don't everyone, please don't drink and tumble. It's bad. But truly, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Go watch Rocco on the Rocks.
Alrighty. So with that, Matt, do you have any shout outs that you want to give?
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to my mom because we're really getting into this podcast together. And you could follow me at Matthew Loucel. I think that's my TikTok, my Instagram, and possibly all my other socials. Matthew Loucel and Son of a Bench podcast.
Yes, be sure to follow the podcast for all the content they will be coming out with. That's very exciting. Again, Matt, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rockstars, as always, shout out to my family, my parents, my sisters, my brothers, my poos, my creative directors, and all you rockstars that tune in every single week. I appreciate you guys. Wouldn't be here without you. I love doing this. And that's it. Everyone, remember to always be your best self. Do not forget to smile. Life's what you make it, so let's make it rock. I will see you all next week. Bye.
Thanks.